Hello everyone. In this video I'll be discussing why Paul from the Bible is a false prophet. I believe that the true message of Jesus was corrupted by an infiltrator at the earliest stages of the religion. This is also the main reason why Christianity is in decline and people have forgotten about the true teachings of Jesus. For this video, I have concentrated on the evidences from the Bible because that is what the Christians believe in. And you do not need to be a scholar or historian or go to external sources to examine my evidences. If you have a Bible, you can easily follow along with me throughout this video. Here is my reason number 1. Jesus never appointed Paul during his ministry. Paul was the same age as Jesus. He was born in Tarsus. He was living and studying in Jerusalem, while Jesus was also living and preaching there. Evidence is in Acts 22:3. Also, Jesus traveled a lot of places and appointed the 12 apostles. Here are some of the places where Jesus traveled and preached: River Jordan, Judea Desert, Tyre, Sidon, Sea of Galilee, Decapolis, Jerusalem, Bethphage. If Paul was so important, why didn't Jesus appoint Paul? He did not have to travel far to find Paul. He was already in Jerusalem. Reason number 2. Paul was not appointed as a disciple even when there was a vacant spot. After Judas, one of the 12 disciples, betrayed Jesus, there were 11 left. There was a spot for one more disciple. This was another opportunity to bring Paul in. Instead, Matthias was chosen by the remaining disciples as the 12th apostle. This can be found in Acts 1:26. Reason number 3. Paul's conversion story is full of contradictions. Paul claimed that Jesus came in a flash of light and appointed him as the 13th apostle. Let us examine the story. He mentions his life-changing events in 3 different places in the Bible. And amazingly, these 3 sentences have 3 different contradictions. Let us examine this. Acts 9:7. And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice but seeing no man. Acts 22:9. And they that were with me saw indeed the light, and were afraid, but they heard not the voice of him that spoke to me. Acts 26:14. And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking to me. In bracket, others did not hear. Did the traveling man with Paul see the light or did not see the light? Did the traveling man with Paul hear or did not hear? Did they stand speechless or fall to the ground? Why can't Paul get this simple story straight? It is because he was making this up. This testimony will not stand a chance in the court. Reason number 4. False prophets will make prophecies that will not come true. Deuteronomy 18:22. When a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, if the word does not come to pass or come true, that is a word which the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. You need not be afraid of him. According to Paul, Jesus will return in his lifetime. 1 Thessalonians 4:16-17. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel, and with a trumpet call of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive and are left will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so we will be with the Lord forever. According to Paul, Jesus will return in his lifetime. It's been 2000 years already. This is a false prophecy and proves that Paul is a false prophet. Reason number 5. False prophets will claim that Jesus did not come in flesh, perhaps in spirit form or as a ghost. Jesus gave the test for false prophet in 1 John 4. Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are of God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. This is how you can recognize the Spirit of God. Every spirit that acknowledges that Jesus Christ has come in flesh is from God. According to Jesus, false prophets will claim that Jesus did not come in flesh, perhaps in the form of a spirit or ghost or even in dreams. Now, let's see if this matches Paul. Here is where we can find Paul's account in Acts 9:3. I'm quoting, "As he neared Damascus on his journey, suddenly a light from heaven flashed around him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice say to him, 'Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?'" Also, Acts 22:17. "When I returned to Jerusalem and was praying at the temple, I fell into a trance and saw the Lord speaking to me." In both these accounts, Jesus was not with flesh. It was a spirit form or in a vision. This is why whenever Paul describes meeting Jesus, he uses the word appear. This can be found in Acts 1:3, Acts 9:17, Acts 26:16, 1 Corinthians 15:6-8. Now, just to contrast, both these accounts are after the alleged crucifixion. What did Jesus himself describe him? Whether he came in a spirit form or as a ghost or in flesh and bones. We can find that in Luke 24 verses 37. "They were startled and frightened, thinking they saw a ghost. He said to them, 'Why are you troubled? Why do doubts rise in your minds? Look at my hands and feet. It is I myself. Touch me and see. A ghost does not have flesh and bones as you see I have.' They gave him a piece of broiled fish, and he took it and ate it in their presence." Now, if you still have some doubt on this point, please read 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Here, Paul himself describes that Jesus was raised as a spiritual body in verses number 42. So according to Paul, when Jesus was resurrected, he became a spirit, no longer flesh and bones, or even a human being for that matter. Okay, point number 6. False prophets will do miracles and will claim to see Jesus in the desert and in the inner rooms. Here is a warning from Jesus. Matthew chapter 24, verses 24 and 26. "For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you in advance. So if anyone tells you, 'There he is out in the desert,' do not go out. Or 'Here he is in the inner rooms,' do not believe it." Now, does this match with Paul? Did Paul do any miracles? Acts 19:11. God did extraordinary miracles through Paul. Did Paul claim to have seen Jesus in the desert? Acts 9:3. "As he neared Damascus on his journey, suddenly a light from heaven flashed around him." The entire city of Damascus was surrounded by desert, so unless Paul was inside the city, he was actually in the desert. What about the inner rooms? Another meaning for the inner room is a prison cell, or a room within a room. Paul was in prison for 6 years, in the jail, the inner cell or inner room. There are frequent claims that Jesus intervened to help him and inspire him. Acts 16:24. When he received the orders, he put them in the inner cell and fastened their feet in the stocks. Them in here refers to Paul and Silas. While Paul was in the prison cell, he was inspired by Jesus to write Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, and Philemon. So this prophecy matches 100% with Paul. Point number 7. False prophets will disguise and be desperate. Jesus warned in Matthew 7:15, "Watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves." Analyzing this verse, we can gather that false prophets will disguise, pretend to be what he is not, and they will be desperate, hungry, and ferocious to convert people. Let's see if this matches Paul. I'll read 1 Corinthians 9, verses 20 to 22. "When I am with the Jews, I live like a Jew to win Jews. They are ruled by the law of Moses, and I am not, but I live by their law to win them. When I am with the people who are not ruled by the law, I forget about the law to win them. Of course, I never really forget about the law of God. In fact, I am ruled by the law of Christ. When I am with people whose faith is weak, I also live as they do to win them. I do everything I can to win everyone I possibly can." Paul even admits that he used trickery to convert people. 2 Corinthians 12, verses 16. "Be that as it may, I have not been a burden to you, yet crafty fellow that I am, I caught you by trickery." So the answer is yes. He clearly admitted that he disguised and deceived and was desperate to convert people. Reason number 8. False prophets will be greedy and preach for material things. Jesus never taught us to make a living out of preaching. On the contrary, he taught against material things and greed. Matthew 19:21. Jesus answered, "If you want to be perfect, go sell your possessions and give it to the poor, and you will have a treasure in heaven. Then come follow me." So, why was Paul so desperate to preach and convert people? Let's find out. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7. "Do soldiers pay their own salaries? Don't people who raise grapes eat some of what they grow?" Verse 11. "When we told the message to you, it was like planting spiritual seeds. So we have the right to accept material things as our harvest from you. In the same way, the Lord wants everyone who preaches the good news to make a living from preaching this message." So yes, Paul was deceiving for material things because he wanted to make a living out of preaching. Point number 9. False prophets will teach to discard the laws and commandments. Jesus warned in Matthew 5:19, "Whoever therefore breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do likewise shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does and teaches them shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven." Did Paul break the commandments and teach others to do the same? Let's find out. Romans 10:4. "Christ is the end of the law unto the righteousness for everyone who believes." Galatians 2:16. "Know that a person is not justified by works of the law, but by faith in Jesus Christ." So we too have put faith in Christ Jesus, that we may be justified by faith in Christ and not by the works of the law, because by the works of the law no one will be justified. Okay, this ends part 1 of the series. I do not want to make this video any longer. Please come back for part 2. Thank you for watching.